Top 8 space movies judged by actual astronauts. 8 Total Recall, 1990. The 1990s, Total Recall was viewed as one of the best activity films of Arnold Schwarzenegger's profession. It's likewise one of the more intelligent films that the entertainer was ever engaged with. Right up till the present time, a large number of his fans are as yet pondering precisely how the film finished. Was Douglas Quaid, played by Schwarzenegger, really a spy who had bogus recollections of his life embedded? Or then again, is a large portion of what we see all through the film only the happening of the bogus memory that was embedded? Our space travelers, as one would expect, are less keen on the complexities of the plot and undeniably more worried about the handy and logical components of the film. The braking head protector, for instance. As indicated by Stott, head protectors are undeniably more sturdy than we find in the clasp above. In spite of the fact that there are parts that might be broken by sharp bits of metal, for instance, visors are built of entirely tough, solid polycarbonate that basically doesn't break on sway. 7 Gravity, 2013. Stacking video. The entirety of our specialists concur that in the event that you need to comprehend what it resembles in space, there has never been a superior film than Gravity. The sights and sounds are exceptionally precise and suggestive of precisely what she encountered on her space strolls, Stott reviews. The landscape, particularly in the initial scenes of the moderate turning Earth and staggering lighting, genuinely gives you the crude feeling of how stunningly lovely it is up there, says Hadfield. Simply don't focus on what any of the space explorers are doing. Reisman concurs that, albeit perfectly shot, the film resists the laws of material science. It manages space trash causing ruin on the worldwide space station. Also, indeed, properly enough, there is a ton of stuff coasting up there. Notwithstanding, as per Stott, every single piece greater than a clench hand is followed by a researcher on Earth and a gigantic haze of flotsam and jetsam out of nowhere amazing the spacewalkers is simply ridiculous. During the scene where the two fundamental characters are making fixes to the Hubble telescope, Sandra's character delivers the ties, binds her to the robot arm and goes coasting off into space as though there is some outside power practiced upon her and not the hardware. In another scene she snatches Clooney's tie and he discloses to her that she should release him to spare herself. Why? When she has halted his energy, he wouldn't be going anyplace. Indeed, even the satellite zooming by at around 120 miles per hour is so distant from reality that our genuine space travelers simply chuckle. Satellites travel at 5 miles for each second, multiple times quicker than a rifle projectile. They would have actually no ideal opportunity to recognize what they are seeing. 6 Armageddon, 1998. The vast majority of us, I think, would concur that this film particularly falls into the anecdotal classification. It's quite evident that a lot of what happens is absolute garbage. Hadfield calls it unfortunate comic. It's as awful as any space film has ever been. It's simply frightful. Stott, notwithstanding, saw some recovering elements. Particularly the pool scene above. As per her, what you see on screen is practically precisely what she herself experienced and recalls about preparing in NASA's large pool. At the point when you're preparing submerged, she says, you are encircled by well-being jumpers helping you with the gear and getting in and out of the pool. Fortunately, in space it's really simpler to move around. In spite of the fact that she concurs that the multi-day preparing is pretty much outlandish, her conclusion is that NASA was simply attempting to acclimate the group with what it would feel like up in space. Along these lines, the pool and T-38 planes. Genuine space explorers experience similar cycles so as to figure out how to function complex frameworks in comparable conditions. 10 Joys and Terrors of Space Exploration 5 First Man, 2018. Before space travelers become space explorers, they for the most part have some other specialized vocation. Frequently, they begin as aircraft testers, just like the case with Neil Armstrong and his kindred group individuals. In the film, Armstrong is seen flying AX-15. Nothing amiss with that. The portrayal, however, is imperfect. As per Hadfield, AX-15's vibrations would be so minute as to be intangible. In the event that your airplane is shaking to the degree this one is, there must be something incorrectly. And afterward, some way or another, for some mysterious explanation, everything unexpectedly goes dead tranquil. Where did all that sound vanish to? Indeed, even the sky as observed through the airplane's windows is all off base. In actuality, the higher you go, the hazier it gets. In the film, the shade of the sky goes from sky blue to light blue and afterward unexpectedly goes to dark. Yet, the most frustrating thing about the film, Hadfield says, is the sad air and absence of euphoria around the mission. Being a space traveler is an incredible experience, and despite the fact that the individuals from the group are largely mindful of the earnestness and expected threats of the circumstance, they are additionally awed and thrilled at the remote chance of being in space. 4 Passengers, 2016. How would you make gravity if there's no planet around? As per our specialists, turning the shuttle you're going in will make a gravity-like pseudo-power, radial power, to be careful. Much like the clothes washer rides at entertainment meccas, the turning impacts a power that pushes objects, counting individuals, against the external edges of the vehicle. The pool scene in Passengers is an incredible visual portrayal of what might befall the water once the boat has quit turning and the diffusive power has in this way gone. Not that that is probably going to occur, as indicated by Hadfield. It would take an incredible outside power, or brakes, to stop the movement of such an immense vehicle in space. The other hiccup here is that the power would not mysteriously return and send everything slamming down like in the film. To get such an enormous metal structure turning again would take significant time and exertion. Be that as it may, what happens when the globules of water hoard in a major mass is extremely sensible and precisely what befalls beads of water in the worldwide space station. Indeed, even tears, as indicated by Stott. 3 The Martian, 2015. Reisman rates this film at a 9, in light of the fact that other than the possibility that penetrating the glove of your spacesuit will make it act like a stream pack and push you around space like Iron Man, the film is quite exact. Hadfield opposes this idea. As indicated by him, there are a few logical misnomers. For one, Matt Damon's character, Mark Watney, would not be very as buff as he is in the film. The red planet's gravity is just about 38% of the Earth's. Imprint would consequently just weigh around 33% of his depicted weight. The climate is additionally amazingly dainty on Mars. You would need to climb Everest multiple times to get to the tallness where the air is similarly as slender on Earth. Also, when you realize that, a considerable lot of the scenes outside the spaceship become risky. The thought behind Watney developing his own harvest of potatoes on Mars isn't a long way from reality, however. All he needs is supplement-rich soil, which he reproduces utilizing his own waste, along with warmth, water, and oxygen. Furthermore, these can be made with generally straightforward substance responses utilizing the spaceship's provisions, something each space traveler is altogether prepared in. 2001, A Space Odyssey, 1968, Reisman and Hadfield both truly love this film, and even the science holds up truly well. To put it plainly, the film is wonderfully, masterfully, and sensibly depicted. When Hadfield got back from his first historically speaking spacewalk, he had no words to disclose to his better half what he had seen. Other than it's actually as they envisioned in the film. A serious accomplishment considering the film was made before man even arrived on the moon. The film likewise utilizes making outward power to mimic gravity by pivoting the global space station. What's more, as per Reisman, they even got the speed right, around 1,5 rpm, which will result in around 1/2 a g equals gravitational force. Pretty much a large portion of the gravity you will feel on Earth, enough to keep the travelers and different articles pretty much set up. 1 Apollo 13, 1995, possibly the most sensible of all the space motion pictures, says Hadfield. Apollo 13 recounts to the tale of space travelers Lovell, Hayes, and Swigert, who, during the Apollo 13 moon mission end up abandoned when their shuttle gets harmed. A few ace cautions sound and the space travelers acknowledge, "Houston, we have an issue." Hadfield himself has utilized the popular line on a couple of events and says that it really is the most effective sentence possible. Every individual who hears it quickly stops what they're doing and focuses on what the authority will say straight away. This docudrama flawlessly depicts the cycle of critical thinking that occurs consistently in spaceflight. Not as drastically, fortunately, yet the guideline is the equivalent. As per our specialists, Chief Ron Howard tried really hard to guarantee the exactness of what is appeared in the film. Indeed, even the exchange during the extreme scenes is basically a duplicate of NASA's records. Reisman even ventures to such an extreme as to express that it's as near a narrative as the chief could get without pulling all his gear into space.